it's really hard to find something fun happening. And I mean that sincerely. Damn you, Feral Druid. This is why no one takes ferals, by the way. Please release me. Dispel me. Come on, man. I'm dead here. I'm absolutely dead. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Dandy Preacher. And I was browsing, right? I'm looking at my character select screen, and I've got all these choices of classes to get leveled over the next month or so we can jump into more and more stuff for you guys. And I was looking at the mage. I was like, I haven't played my mage today. I was looking at the druid. Maybe I want to blast a bit of feral, something along those lines, and have a play around. And then I caught it. The Demon Hunter. And I know. Some of you are like, Demon Hunter is so boring, Mike. Like, why are you playing that? But I think the Demon Hunter, at least the way I've looked at it over the last, since it was inception in Legion, honestly, is not my favourite spec. Never has been, never will be. It's a spec that is not designed for players like me. I could never main it, but, and I think this is true of a lot of people, it is my guilty pleasure spec. And I mean that by, even in BFA, when I didn't play a lot of alts, right? I still had my Demon Hunter capped, and every now and again I'd just jump over it and run a couple of Mythic Pluses, do some dungeons on it, and have a really good time. But then it would, like, that firework display that is the Demon Hunter would kind of wear off. And that really fun aspect of it would disappear. And I would leave it alone at that point, which I thought was fair. Like, it's a guilty pleasure spec, and we all have them. If I think back to, like, Mr. Pandari, it'd be the Survival Hunter would be my guilty pleasure. I don't want to main it by any means, but, you know, it's a spec I very much enjoy. And not to have that feeling was really strange. So I thought I'll jump back on it because I'd heard a whole bustle of rumors and ideas about the Demon Hunter is that it's, oh, you don't even press Blade Dance anymore. Like, they've made it worse. Now, when I did the testing of the Demon Hunter in the alpha and the beta of the Shadowlands, it was in a bad place. Like, playing it was super clunky. It wasn't particularly fun. The Fury generation was, like, all over the place. And it really bugged me, because it's like, this spec, for me, like, what I'm looking for when I play a Demon Hunter is just a silly, fun spec. That's what I consider it, like a really silly, fun spec that I could just enjoy, get involved in and play. And I went for the AoE stun. There it is. I got it, like, after mine got broken. But if it's clunky to play, like, it was clumsy. That's what it was. It was clumsy. You would end up, like, starved of Fury, then you have too much Fury and you couldn't really get rid of it, and it was, just wasn't fun. So, I've come back to it now, and I've been playing it for the last sort of 2 or 3 hours or so. Just got into 53, it's about to hit 54. What I could say is, for the most part, yeah, they kind of fixed that. They kind of fixed that. But the gameplay here on offer is, I have to say it. I think this is no longer a guilty pleasure spec because it's really hard to find something fun happening. And I mean that sincerely. I don't want to say that. Like, I don't like just blasting specs, but let's talk about some of the things that have changed since the last time I messed around with this. Let's touch on this. You don't press Blade Dance anymore. So, the way they reworked a lot of stuff meant that your talents basically decide the 2 buttons you press, and it is 2 to 3 buttons we have. And Fury generation, you can even drop one of them out with Demon's Bite if you want to, and that's put us in a situation where, for the most part, you're either pressing Glaive Tempest, which many of us will remember was in the game in Legion as an extra button called Fury of the Eladari. It's not a new idea by any means, Blizz. Basically the same spell, but we used to have it on top of our other toolkit. And you kind of, once you choose that, and the chance that go alongside making that happen, kind of mean that you do drop Blade Dance out. Now, for the first hour or so of playing the Demon Hunter, it was hard for me to drop that. Like, genuinely really difficult. I was, like, pressing it out of muscle instinct, you know what I mean? My hands were like, yeah, you should be pressing Blade Dance now. You should be death sweeping. And I just had to stop that however I could. Someone interrupts. Go on, you wouldn't. Can I, like, imprison these if that happens? No. Okay. I'm getting cleaved here. And I have aggro on one, which is kind of a bummer. I'll get it. I moved it to shift 3. That's how I stopped myself. It's the only... It was literally the only solution I could think of is I need to get rid of this button because my hands just want to press it. And that's not going to work, you know? My hands really do want to press this button, so I need to get rid of it. So what are we left with? Well, we've got our Demon's Bite, and we've got our Chaos Strike, and we've got I-Beam. So I'm playing the I-Beam-ish Focus Spec, the Blind Fury Spec right now. And then we have Glaive Tempest, which we kind of just... It's a little bit of planning. Obviously, you kind of want it to AoE when you can. And then basically we're using I-Beam to go into meta with Via Demonic and continue doing our normal everyday business off the back of that. That's it. That's the spec in a nutshell. Now, what does that mean then? Well, for me, this has gone a little bit too far. I know that Demon Hunter has been a huge... Oh, Havoc. I should not say Demon Hunter. Havoc has been a huge meme over the last tier. Perma-benched for a lot of guilds. Just... Even when their niche seems to come up, they just weren't getting the... I knew somebody was going to do that. Their niche wasn't getting utilized. All kind of aspects like that that made them a bit of a meme. Now, they were a bit of a meme back in BFA. In terms of... We had 2 main Demon Hunters in the guild. Both of them could not wait to drop it. On the basis of they were getting, like, carpal tunnel playing it. Like, they were going so fast that their hands were starting to hurt after a raid night. Not fun, right? You don't want to walk away from a raid night in some sort of physical impediment. That's not particularly fun. So with that going on, they were very much looking forward to Shadowlands so they could actually just stop playing it, which is fair enough, man. It's fair enough. And I still think that aspect of it is here, because a lot of that comes from demons biting and generating the resources and doing all that kind of stuff. I don't think we're going to hit everything here, but... Oh, you moved out of my Elysian Decree. That's awesome. Good news. I love that. I love that. I could have waited, I suppose, to make that happen. But here we are. Here we are. And I was kind of hoping... Honestly, the reason I was looking at this, because you might... Oh, you're just bad-mouthing it, right? You're just bad-mouthing it. No. Actually, I'm kind of under the impression that Blizzard might do the treatment I kind of think they're going to do for rogues. Which is their Demon Hunter, or when Blizzard made the Demon Hunter, my impression was, and the impression of many people, they made this for guys who wanted to do very well in harder content in a simple way. Now, I want to be clear on something. I have no issue with that. I know some people get really, really angry about that kind of thing. Like, specs should be really hard for some reason. I don't get that personally. It doesn't bother me. But... This was one of the specs that they clearly made very flashy, right? Like I say, I often refer to them as the fireworks display, because I do believe that is kind of how they are. And effective, while being very simple. So they put a lot of effort. I-Beam is still very fun to press, let's put it that way. I-Beam is still a great, great spell to press. I enjoy it very, very much. But somewhere along the way, I think they tried to, like, bring it back into a spec that deserves some sort of merit. I'm still trying to put my hands on it, if you can... I've no doubt you can tell. I'm still trying to, like, wrap my head around exactly why it is now like this. And I can't imagine Blizzard's happy with it, either through participation levels. I was looking at the M+ scores just before I recorded this, and for a Demon Hunter... which is naturally very good in a dungeon environment, because nearly every single one of their spells naturally cleaves. Which obviously very useful for... Did you stun that away? Damn you, Feral Druid! This is why no one takes Ferals, by the way. Goofing the AoE, dude. Don't do that. And I'm wondering what Blizzard could do with this. I almost feel like I would be happier. Now, I'm not a main Demon Hunter, so I'll take this with a pinch of salt. I would be happier if they reverted it. So what is exactly happening? I guess for those of you who are like, what are you talking about? Well, Blade Dance is this spell here. Kind of a bread and butter spell of the Demon Hunter. But, as I said, not really worth casting right now in certain environments. So how does this spec really work? Well, essentially, use I-Beam on cooldown to get into Demon form. Plus Glaive Tempest, which spins our blades around and does all that good stuff. And in between there... just kind of generate Fury and then spend that Fury on Chaos Strike. And then your because what that's actually doing is resetting the cooldown on my I-Beam to repeat the process. Very, very quite simple. Like, on a basic level, that's kind of what's happening here. You're not seeing much more to it than that. Just me I-beaming, which is good damage, obviously. I mean, there is still some planning to, like, AoE with it as much as possible. But for the most part, I'm trying to I-beam so I can get into Demonic. Generates me a lot of fury, so I can't even screw this up. And then you spam as many annihilations as you can while you're in meta. And that annihilation is going to reduce the cooldown on my I-beam. As you can see, my I-beam is coming back to do the whole thing again. That's pretty much it. That's it. Like, there's a little bit more to it. They do have some great utility still. Like, you know, they can still purge magical spells, which is great. They have good interrupting. They have AoE stun. And they naturally do cleave everything. And they get a very, very long and effective DPS cooldown with the actual Metamorphosis cooldown. Which I haven't even used yet. I should have used it at some point, but... I find myself... And this is awkward to say. I find myself just kind of getting bored. The only thing I have to manage is to have enough fury to cast I-beam. And... that's kind of it. So what happens is, ironically... you can't... I need to chill here. I'm just going to chill. Hopefully he doesn't miss. Let's use our cooldowns that we've saved. And I-beam. What often happens is you get so kind of like lost in doing the usual buff that you don't prepare for even I-beam. You're just kind of spamming away. It's so dumb. It really is. It's like it's one thing to look after, dude, and you keep screwing it up. And I'm like, yeah, it's because for all its bells and whistles, man. I think this is probably going to be one I level last. Unless I, like, feel the actual temptation to, which I may do. Please move. Please release me. Dispel me. Come on, man. I'm dead here. I'm absolutely dead. Okay, let's come. Summit Storm. Waiting for people to move here has been the absolute burden of my life. One res. 2 druids, 1 res. 1 res, 2 druids. 2 druids, 1 res. Cast the spell. Cast the spell. Cast the spell. Spell the cast. Yay! What a dude. Right, I'm out of here. I don't know what the fuck is going on. I am leaving, dude. I've got a lot of catching up to do. Oh, why are you all running this way? I'll do that. We're going. I'm going right next time. We got another one. Dispel me, daddy. Yes. Yes. Dispel me. There it is. Get it done. What a shame. I wonder what your guys' thoughts is on the Demon Hunter. Like I said, I've given it like 3 hours. I'm obviously going to level this as Vengeance from this point forward, because Vengeance is super fun. It always has been, always will be. But I really miss enjoying the Demon Hunter. Because it used to be the case. Last few expansions, ever since it came to the game in Legion, it's like, I want to have a chill time. Maybe I want to go farming open world, you know? Maybe I want to go do something. Maybe I want to do some solo stuff. And the Demon Hunter was always the idyllic for that. And you just jump on, you'd be like, pew, 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 shredding things up. I'm not feeling that at all anymore. Sad. I'll see you again. Disappointed. Oh well. Let's play something else then. Bye-bye.